All right. Hey guys, it's Leigh Ann. I am excited to be able to offer this class to you guys. And we are going to be doing a sweat and flow level 2/3 flow yoga practice. Starting lying down, face up on your mat. Go ahead and add some support underneath your knees if you need to. You could add a bolster or a rolled up blanket. You're also welcome to come into bound angle pose for this, Baddha Konasana, bringing the soles of the feet together and the knees wide to the side. And you may want to add some blocks or blankets underneath the knees there if that feels more comfortable. Or you can have your feet on the mat, knees bent, whatever position feels like a good mini savasana to begin our practice today. Bring one hand to your heart and your other hand to your belly. Close your eyes and begin by tuning into your breath. Notice how the body lifts and expands out on the inhale. Notice how it sinks and contracts in on the exhale. See how deep and full and smooth you can make your breath right now. Notice the top third of your breath, the expansion and broadening of the collarbones, the very top of the ribs, maybe feeling your shoulder blades making contact with the mat. And notice how they push down into the floor a little bit more deeply as you inhale. Notice the middle of the breath in the rib cage. See if you can feel the ribs expanding not only up and down towards the ceiling and the floor, but also out to the sides, left and right, sort of spiraling open and closed with your breath. Can you maybe even breathe so deeply that you stretch open the intercostal muscles in between each rib? Finally, noticing the lower part of the breath, your hand that is on your belly, noticing the rise and fall of that hand. Noticing where your low back makes contact with your mat and maybe breathing so deeply into that low back area that you can sort of puff up against the floor. And making a complete transition from wherever you've been in your day up until this point into your yoga practice here and now. Really make that turn from the outside world into the next hour that we have together. As you do that, notice how you begin your practice today physically. How do you feel in your body? Notice if there's any areas that are grabbing your attention or speaking to you right now. Notice how you feel emotionally. Notice the state of your mind as we begin our class. Is your mind active and racing? Maybe sleepy? Just noticing your mental state. And then finally releasing all of those observations and tuning into that part of you that is the observer. The part of you that is none of these things, yet experiencing all of them. The part of you that is always awake, even when you're sleeping on this journey in your life. And setting an intention together with a few more full deep breaths to accept what is, to notice what is showing up on the stage of your life, to accept it with compassion, and to create only good. On your next exhale, release all of that. Open your eyes and notice the colors and textures on the ceiling above. And then draw your knees in, grabbing them and rocking gently side to side. Giving yourself a little back massage with the weight of your body pressing against the floor. And then bringing that to center, we're gonna open with Kundalini balance pose, which is a core strengthener that also helps to get the joints lubricated and bring some opening and balance to the whole body. So we extend one heel towards the floor as the other hand stretches up overhead, palm up. If that's too much intensity on your back, you can allow the heel to actually touch the floor. But if you can, see if you can keep the heel hovering so that you're really working the tummy, starting to wake the body up, activating into that core strength. If it feels right, you might inhale as you open and exhale as you close. Keep that low back glued down to protect it. The next time that your right knee comes up, we're going to pause, allow that left heel to make contact with the floor, and then draw that right knee up and to the side towards your armpit, towards your shoulder. So it's sort of angling past the shoulder. Both legs are active, so toes are spread, the left kneecap and toes are reaching for the ceiling. And that right leg, we're just squeezing it in, breathing the belly up against the right thigh. Straighten that right leg with core strength, with control. Bring that foot all the way back down to the mat. And now draw both knees in again. This time we're just going to hug the legs in. We're just pulling them in as closely as we can and pushing the belly up against the thighs with our breath. So we're trying to create pressure through the stomach. Releasing your legs, controlling them back to the mat. And now finally drawing that left knee in, angling it out towards or past that left shoulder. Breathe your stomach up against the left thigh, creating pressure in that left side of the belly. And releasing that leg, controlling that straight leg all the way down to the mat. So Kundalini stretch pose. We're going to lift the body into a low boat pose, looking to our big toes, connecting index fingers with thumbs and holding the body here. You can add breath of fire. Exhale, 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 exhale. Five, four, three, two, inhale. And exhale, let your body come down. Go ahead and bend that right knee again. We're going to allow that right leg to fall across the body for an easy twist. So the right arm extends out to the side, the right leg just pulling over to the left. If your neck says it's okay, turning your head to look to that right hand. Easy twist. And bring your gaze back to the ceiling. Unwind. We're going to do that stretch pose one more time. So lifting the body into that low boat pose, looking to those big toes, connecting index fingers with thumbs, breath of fire. 4, 3, 2, 1. Let the body come down. Draw that right leg in. Left leg in. Let it fall across your body. Left arm out to the side. And then if your neck gives you permission, turning your head to look towards that left hand. Feel that twist through the whole spine. Breathe deeply into the belly. And bring your gaze back to the ceiling. Unwind. One more time. Hug the knees in. Make sure the low back is making contact with the mat. This is basically child's pose face up. So just enjoy that opening for the low back here. Rocking side to side. And now rocking along the length of the spine from your tailbone to your shoulder blades. You don't want to go past the shoulder blades. So just from the tailbone up to the shoulder blades. Massaging those muscles that live on either side of the spine. The next time that you come up, we're going to pause and balance, again using core strength. Maybe open that up into a high boat pose, and then let the feet come back down to the mat, pouring your weight right up into a standing forward fold. You can allow the feet to be a little wider than hip distance apart. Start by shaking your head yes and no. Knees are as bent as you need to make this feel comfortable. And then we're going to let the body sway from side to side, tracing a half moon shape around the feet. And keeping that sway as we slowly roll up to standing. The head comes up last. Arms are dangling, following along for the ride. And as you come up, letting those shoulders roll open right and left into mountain pose, Tadasana. Taking a moment in mountain pose to feel and find your stability, your strength. Sweeping the arms up overhead, interlace the fingers, press the palms to the sky. Arms stay to the outsides of the ears as we bend to the right. The body is long. Press back up to center, lift out of that low back, take it left. Press back up to center, lift your heart and gaze to the sky. And then let the hands release, forward fold. Flat back. Step straight back into down dog. So first down dog of class, we're going to take our time and pedal the feet out. So one heel and then the other, stretching towards the mat. Starting to wake the calf muscles up. And then moving through a series of spinal erasers. We start by letting the heels get really heavy and tucking the chin in towards the chest. Lift your heels. Let that lift wave through the torso, coming into an up dog with the toes still tucked under. Lift the gaze. And then reverse. Roll back through the spine into down dog. As you get there, close the throat, chin to chest. Roll the body open, up dog. As you get there, throat is open, chin is lifted. So back and forth a few times as smoothly as you can. Feeling that wave moving through the body, moving through the spine. Opening and closing the throat. The next time that you come back into down dog, we're going to hold there. Let the heels get really heavy. Let the head be heavy. Shake it, yes and no. And then drop down onto your forearms for a dolphin. First dolphin, we're going to flip the palms open. So go ahead and bring the thumbs to the mat. Let your head continue to be heavy, but it's not fully resting on the mat. I should be able to slide at least a piece of paper between your head and the floor. By stretching the palms open and trying to connect the thumbs and pinkies to the mat, we're stretching the forearms and the hands. Lift the gaze and turn this into a forearm plank. Interlacing the fingers, dropping the body down into that strong straight line, shoulders above the elbows. Go ahead and let the belly come down, tops of the feet down, fingertips off to the side of the mat. Really wide elbows up. Push down through the fingertips to lift the heart, lift the gaze, lift the spine. Open cobra. And then release that back to the mat. Hands under the shoulders, tuck the toes, down dog. This time in down dog, lifting that right leg up, spreading the toes open, keeping the hips square. Now pull that right knee in towards your forehead. Squeeze to the core. And then stretch it back up, down dog splits. Pull the weight forward again, this time right knee to left elbow. Lift, open, right knee to right elbow. Lift it up, open, knee to forehead one more time. Hold here, push the floor away. And now pop that foot to the mat, low lunge. Top of the left foot and left knee are down. Right knee is above the right ankle. Sweep the arms high. Easy twist, left hand forward, right hand back. And now bring that right hand to the sacrum, stretch that left arm high. Maybe feel a little opening from the left hip. Windmill the arms back to the mat, tuck the left toes under, straighten that left leg. Get your balance here. Find your belly, engage the core, come up to high lunge with cactus arms to the sides. Engage your belly, pop all the way back up into your strong mountain pose. Find your stability, find your breath. Sweep the arms up, interlace those fingers, press the palms to the ceiling, long spine, bend left. Press up out of those hips, bend right. Lift up tall, back bend. Release the hands, forward fold. Flat back. Straight back into down dog. One more time, pedaling those heels out. Stretching the calves. They're a little more warmed up than they were the last time that we did this. So really take the opportunity to push your weight down through your heels. Start to wake those muscles up all along the backs of the legs. Let the feet be still. Heels are heavy. Spread the fingertips nice and wide. Really push the hands down into the floor. And now see if you can soften the neck. Shake the head yes and no. Coming into another dolphin, dropping down onto your forearms again. This time interlace, keep that interlace with the fingers. If it's okay on your shoulders, this can be intense if you have shoulder injuries, so be careful. But if your shoulders say yes, maybe a little back and forth. Lubricating those joints with the movement, with the heat. Building those muscles. Coming back into one more forearm plank. So maybe you need to walk the heels back a little bit or walk the elbows forward a touch. Straight line and then belly and tops of the feet down. One more time, that fingertip cobra. So fingertips off to the sides, elbows are wide. Push down through the fingertips to lift the body. Halfway down, look over that right shoulder. Push back up. Feel your collarbones get wider, broader. Halfway down, look over the left shoulder. One more time. Push, lift, and open. Roll the spine back to the mat. Plant the hands. Down dog. Lift that left leg this time. Spread the toes. Hips stay square. Knee to forehead. Lift and open. Left knee to right elbow. Lift and open. Left knee to left elbow. Lift and open. One more time, knee to forehead. Pause here for a moment. Really tuck your chin into your chest. Lift the hips, pop that left foot to the mat. Top of the right foot and right knee are down, arms sweep high. Easy twist, right hand forward, left hand back. Bring that left hand to the sacrum, gently press it down. Fingertips rise, gaze follows. Windmill those hands back to the mat, tuck the right toes, straighten the right leg. Use your tummy, get your strength, get your balance. Cactus arms as you come up, high lunge. And popping up into mountain pose. As you get there, bring your hands to your heart in namaste. Sweep the arms up overhead, interlace, press the palms together. Side bend to the right. This time, hold it here and use that interconnectedness of your hands to gently tug that left arm to the side. So we're using core strength. It takes core strength to keep the body at a little angle here to the right. And then also use the connection of the hands to open that left shoulder. As you come up out of it, let the hands cup behind the head and let the head rest in those interlaced fingers as you let your gaze and your heart lift. Elbows are so wide that you can't see them in the corners of your eyes. Release into forward fold. Flat back, slide the hands up the shins. Down dog. Bring your left knee to the mat. Take the right leg back behind you, spread the toes. Now draw that knee into your forehead. We're going to continue to open and close so that the body pushes into a cat stretch as we pull that knee in. Belly drops, look up as you lift the leg out. If you can, add that left arm here as well. So it's perfectly fine to just do the right leg. If your body wants more heat, add that left hand as well. Either way, watch that right elbow. We have a tendency to want to lock it to keep our balance. See if you can use muscular strength instead of the locking of the joint. The next time that you open, hold there. So open it up. If you can, bend that right knee, grab the right foot with the left hand for a quad stretch, stretching the front of that right thigh. And there's two options. You can either pull that foot in close to your bottom or push it away from your palm. There's benefits to both. If that's just too much and not happening, then hold that extended shape or even just hold the right leg. So any which way, we're holding and opening the body, keeping it open here. As we move into our vinyasa, we're going to keep that right leg lifted. So wherever you're at, go ahead and bring the left hand down to the mat. We're going to tuck the left toes under, straighten that left leg, and now that right leg stays lifted. It might stay lifted just above the mat. You might let it rest on the back of the left heel, or you might bend it a lot coming into scorpion. And then we keep that leg lifted as we lower to the ground, as we lift our hearts. As we come back to the mat, tuck those left toes and push all the way back into down dog splits. Right knee to right forehead. Open it up. Right knee to left elbow. I guess you only have one forehead. Open it up. Right knee, right elbow. Open it up. One more time. Knee to forehead. Pause. Curl the body. Lift the hips, pop that right foot to the mat. This time we're coming into warrior two. So we're going to keep that left leg straight and lifted as we keep the right knee above the right ankle. Arms out to the sides and pausing there for a moment to push the outer blade of the left foot down. Turn your head to the right, look over that right middle finger and find your breath. Drip back onto the left leg. And as you windmill up, come into gateway pose by lifting the heels, bringing the feet parallel, letting the left Right knee, drop down to the mat, and extending that left leg out to the side. You can keep the left foot parallel with the edge of the mat, or you can turn it so it's perpendicular. You can keep the toes down, you can lift them up. All of that just depends on your anatomy, your body, what feels best to you today. But you want this to feel strong and stable, so that as we bring the arms to the sides, we can slide through the ribs. And the next time that we slide to the left, we're gonna let that open into the full gateway pose. Sliding the left fingertips down the left leg, letting that right arm drip over the right ear. Maybe adding a little twist here, peeking past that right elbow to the ceiling, twisting the spine, and then letting that right arm drape back behind the low back. Really lengthen the spine, let it twist out. Now let your head get really heavy and hang to the left. Left ear to left shoulder, just let it get heavy and relax. Stretch the right fingertips up. Just let them lift up to the sky like a helium balloon. And let that lift pull the whole body up and out of the shape. Pulling the feet into a wide straddle again, parallel with the edges of the mat. Take a moment to let the body hang in the center. Shake the head yes and no. Release any tension that may have built up. Bend your knees. Root the tailbone, roll the spine up. Head comes up last, open those shoulders at the top. Turning yourself to the front of the mat, bring your feet parallel so that you're back in your high lunge, the way that we were before with the cactus arms. We're going to engage the belly and come to balance over that right leg for warrior three. So hips are square. Engage your tummy, lift up, stretch that left foot out in front. Spread the toes, hands out to the sides. Taking that back and forth a few times between warrior three and that tree extended pose. It's a core strengthener, working a lot of muscles of the legs, the belly, the back. The arms can go wherever feels right, whatever helps you to keep your balance. The next time that that right foot, left foot comes forward, pause there. And let that foot come to the mat, back in mountain pose. Sweep the arms up overhead, interlace the fingers, press the palms to the sky. Bend to the left, hold it there. And just as we did before, using that core strength on the right side of the body, those oblique muscles, to hold yourself in that shape. And then using the interlace of the fingers to gently pull that right arm open. Lift up out of that, hands come to the back of the head, gaze and heart to the ceiling. Elbows wide. Keep your hands on the back of your head this time as you come into your forward fold. We're just going to take an extra breath or two here. So we're not pulling on the head. We're just allowing the arms to be heavy and keeping those interlaced fingers behind the head, maybe adding a gentle traction on the neck. Maybe deepening the hamstring stretch. Release the fingertips to the floor, flat back. Stepping straight back into down dog. Right knee comes to the mat and that left leg comes with you in your cat-cow. As the leg goes back, the toes spread, belly drops down. As you bring that knee into your forehead, you curl the body into that cat stretch. Either staying here if that's what feels best to you, or to build a little more heat, adding the right arm. And either way, keeping that left elbow soft. The next time that you open up, we're gonna hold. So you might hold just that left leg, if that's what you have moving right now. You may add that right arm, opening the body. If you can, bend that left knee, grab that left foot, and create a nice stretch for the left quadriceps, the muscles on the front of the thigh. You can push your foot into your palm, or you can use the palm to pull your foot towards your bottom. There are benefits to both. You may go back and forth. Keeping that foot lifted, that leg lifted through our vinyasa. So that as we come into down dog, we go straight into that down dog splits. Knee to forehead. Open it up, lift and reach. Left knee to right elbow. Lift and open. Left knee to left elbow. One more time. Knee to forehead. Pause. Push the floor away. Lift the hips. Pop that left foot through. Back into warrior two. Left knee stays over the left ankle. Right foot pushing the outer blade of the right foot down. This time let the palms flip open to the sky. Looking to that left middle finger. Drip back onto that right leg. Lift up. Feet parallel. Left knee to the mat. Right leg extended out long. Playing with that foot and that ankle to see which of those positions feels best. Toes down or up. Foot parallel or perpendicular. Once you have the foot and the ankle in a position that feels good, sliding through the ribs. The next time that you slide to the left, let that left hand support your torso. Excuse me, your right hand supports the torso. Left arm over the left ear. So in gateway pose, we're doing a lot of different things. We are twisting the spine, peeking underneath that left elbow to the ceiling. We are stretching the hamstrings and the hip, especially of the leg that is straight. And then as we let that arm drip back behind our backs and let the head get really heavy, we're starting to get into the muscles of the neck as well. So left ear to left shoulder here. Really let the heaviness of the head stretch those neck muscles open. To come out of this shape, we allow the left arm to float up like a helium balloon, effortless, and that lift pulls the whole body up. Bringing both feet back to the mat, parallel. Taking a moment to let everything hang towards the center. So shake your head yes and no. Really let the spine be long. Feel that opening in the inner thighs. This is getting the inner thighs here and the backs of the legs as well. So feeling that full open stretch, breathing into it. Bend your knees. Let your tailbone get heavy. Arms drip and dangle as you roll the spine all the way up. Roll the shoulders open. And then facing the front of your mat. High lunge. Engage the belly. And allow yourself to tip forward into warrior three. Hips are square. Arms are wherever feels right to help you keep your balance. Using the tummy, lifting it into an extended tree pose. Going back and forth between extended tree and warrior three. In extended tree, we lean back to really get the core. Really make that tummy shake a little bit. You can play with the arms, play with the shape as you move. The next time that foot is extended out in front, pause there, spread your toes, hands where you need to keep your balance, use the core, get that nice shake, and then take it back to mountain pose. Find your stability there. Sweep the arms up overhead, interlace the fingers, let your index fingers stay extended. Bend the knees a little bit and trace a huge circle to the right. Maybe even letting your fingertips make contact with your mat as you come forward. So big, huge circles, full extension of that side bend that we've been doing. Next time that you come up to center, pause. Let the arms stay lifted. Bring the feet together. If you can, lift up onto the toes. If you can't, that's fine. Either way, the feet and the ankles are touching. We keep them touching as we bend the knees into chair pose. On the toes if possible, but knowing that you can bring your heels down at any point that you need to. Squeeze those legs together, knees, thighs, ankles, feet. Arms stay to the outsides of the ears. You could release them into cactus or bring them out in front, palms up. Heels come down. Let your hands drop behind you, interlace your fingers, and allow the body to come forward, draping over those thighs. Start by imagining that you're just letting all the effort release and drape over the support of the legs, the support of the bones. Lift up a little bit so that you can roll the body to the right. So allowing that left shoulder to come closer to the midline of your body, allowing that right shoulder to open up, stretching it out. Release the hands, straighten the legs, flat back, down dog. You soften your throat and your neck and your shoulders. Lift the heels, roll into plank. Spread the hands wide, soften those elbows, straight line head to heels. Side plank, roll the weight into the left hand, extend the right hand high. So we're stacking those shoulders, lifting up through the left side of the waist. If you want more heat, lift and lower that right leg here. If you don't want more heat, that's fine. Roll back into plank with control, make it smooth. Pause and lengthen. As smoothly as you can, elbows touch your ribs, lower almost to the mat, hover when you get there. And now all the way belly down, tops of the feet down. Two different options here. One is frog pose, where we bend both knees, pull those feet in, and then if you can, even turning the elbows up to the ceiling so that the fingers and toes are facing in the same direction. So we're getting a quadricep stretch for the front of the thighs. We're also stretching the fronts of the feet, tops of the feet. If that's too much, if that's not going to happen, bend both knees, roll onto your left side, grab that right foot and pull that right foot in towards your bottom. So either way, we're doing the same movement, same action. One is just a little bit more gentle on the knees and the hips. And we're still thinking about stretching those quadricep muscles on the front of the right thigh. If you're on your side, make sure that your head is supported in the left upper arm. And make sure that that left knee is really bent. If that left leg is straight, you're going to be really wobbly and not feel like you can relax into the stretch here. Releasing that, all meeting up in down dog. Lifting the right leg, draw that knee into the forehead. Open it up. Right knee to left elbow. Open. Right knee to right elbow. Open. Right knee to forehead. Lift the hips, pop it through. Coming into triangle. Very similar to warrior two, but now both legs are straight. Arms are out to the side. Slide towards the front of your mat until you can't slide through the rib cage anymore. And then allow the right hand to come down and the left hand to come up. That right hand, you may need to make contact with blocks, or you can just let it rest on the calf, the shin. If you let it rest on the shin, you're going to be using more core strength. If you want even more core challenge, you might lift the body up even further and or bring the palms together out in front, arms to the outsides of the ears. So by lifting the body, we're using all muscular strength. But if that's a little too much right now, and you just want to rest a touch, let the weight sink into that right hand, support of the right hand. Turning the body towards the mat, lift that left heel, let the left knee bend and come down, top of the left foot comes down. Twisting deeply in a low lunge. Couple of options. You might plant that left hand to the inside of the right foot. Stretch that right arm overhead. Maybe drop that right arm back behind you or stretch it towards the front of your mat. You could also prayer twist, bringing the palms together, bringing that left elbow just above the right knee. So either way, we are stacking the shoulders, lengthening the spine, and then wringing it out with a twist. Our yoga pose releases stuck and stagnant energy. So as we tug these parts of the body open, we release the things that have been trapped in the tissues. We breathe deeply to keep them moving on their way. Unwind out of the twist. Bring the right leg to the mat. Tuck the left leg behind it so the knees are tucked and stacked. Sit down in between the heels for cow face pose. As you get there, you may need to adjust the hips, the thighs, the legs. You want this to feel as comfortable as possible, and if possible, you want both hips to be making contact with the mat, with the floor. Once you've got the legs in a position that feels maybe like a good stretch, but a comfortable, safe, good stretch that you can hold for a few breaths, lengthen the spine. Let that right hand come back behind your back, just above your waist, or just above your hips and your waist. Let that left hand come up, and then let the left elbow bend. Sit up a little taller, bend that right elbow further. If the fingertips touch, if you can hook your fingertips, great. And if you can't, that's great too, that's fine. Don't compromise the length of your spine to try to get the fingertips together. This is as much about stretching open the front of that right shoulder and stretching into the left triceps as it is about trying to get the fingertips to touch. So please don't make that the goal. Make that the frosting on the cake, the icing on the cake. After the spine is able to stay long, the head is staying gently pushing back into that upper arm. The hips are continuing to stretch open here. And now releasing those hands wherever you had them, letting them come to your sides, let the shoulders shake out. Palms of the hands connected to the soles of the feet, folding forward over the knees. And breathe deeply. Lift the torso up. Lean back so that you can extend the left leg out long. Pull the flesh out from under that left sits bone. And let that right knee stack on top of the left knee. This is a really big hamstring stretch. So the muscles on the back of that left thigh I'm already feeling it just from this. So if you're already feeling it, stay here. And know that if you want to push it a little bit, if you want to go a little more deeply, that's fine. Just move slowly, be careful, be gentle. It is a very deep stretch. We can make it even more effective with that left foot. So let's start by keeping the left toes a little bit spread, the left knee facing to the ceiling, that left leg really active. And now rocking that left leg from side to side. So it's a really tiny movement, but you're just taking that left leg and just rotating it from side to side, opening up that stretch. And now for the last few breaths here, releasing that movement and maybe allowing the torso to get even heavier. That heaviness of your body weight coming forward is going to deepen that stretch even more. Imagine that you're using the heat that we've generated, that heat that you've created, and you're using that to stretch the tissues and the muscles open, so the connective tissue and the muscles. As those stuck spots release, let your breath move that stuff right on out. Inhaling nourishment into every cell and exhaling everything that needs to go. Three more huge, full, deep breaths here. Let's add a little bit of movement with those. So as you inhale, lift up, come up onto the fingers, look up, lengthen the spine. Exhale, hands down, wave the torso forward. Do that 2 more times. Let your inhale lift and open. Let the exhale release, soften, and sink. One more. Round the tailbone, unroll the spine. Keep this general shape of the legs and bring it to the floor. Coming into the center of your mat, the right leg is crossed over the left leg, so right shin is crossing over the left thigh. We grab the left leg and pull it in, getting a stretch on the right hip. The goal is a stretch on the right hip. You might grab behind that left thigh and pull it in towards you. You might grab in front of the left shin and pull it in. Just depends on your anatomy and how your body's feeling today. When you've got that deep but sustainable, safe stretch for the right hip, pause there, breathe into it. You might rock from side to side, or you might stay still. See if you can let that left foot be relaxed. Sometimes we have a tendency to keep it tense. Just invite it to be heavy. Let it come down. And see if you can invite your head and your shoulders and your arms to be heavy and relaxed as well. Sometimes we are rigid in this shape. So even if you're not able to pretzel up, that's fine. Find the shape that works for you, but then soften it and make it get heavy. Even if you're still lifted off of the floor, even if your head is lifted here, you can still soften it. Bring some heaviness into this. Release the legs, hug the knees in, rock the body side to side, left and right. Just as we did at the beginning of class, rock your body along the length of your spine, from your tailbone to your shoulder blades. Feel that massage along the back muscles on either side of the spine. The next time that you come up, pause, open the legs into a full boat pose, a full Navasana. Let the arms open and lift, and then knees bend. Plant the feet, forward fold. Feet a little bit wider than hips distance apart. Shake your head yes and no. Just as we did at the beginning of class, allow the body to sway from side to side. Knees are bent, tracing that half moon shape on your mat around your feet. Arms are just dripping and dangling down. Keeping that sway, keeping that drip as you slowly roll out. We only did 2 roll-ups in our practice today, so just enjoy that. Let it really tug open those tight spots, bringing you back to your strong mountain pose. Sweep the arms overhead, interlace the fingers, index fingers are extended. Bend your knees, side bend to the left, and then trace that huge circle. Make those big, huge circles, maybe even letting the fingertips graze the mat as you come towards the floor. If this makes you feel dizzy or lightheaded, hold those gentle side bends, those ones that we did earlier, just going left and right, tuning into the oblique muscles. Everyone meeting up in center, letting the hands come behind the head, still interlaced. Elbows are so wide that you can't see them in the corners of your eyes. Let your hands drop back behind you. Interlace your fingers behind your back. Bring your feet together. So feet, ankles, toes, and thighs together. Sinking into another chair pose, if you can, come up onto the toes. Lift those heels. Squeeze everything to the center line of the body. Bring the heels down, drape the body over the thighs. Start by letting everything rest on the support of the bones. Lift up a little bit so that you can place that right shoulder in the center of the knees, lifting that left shoulder, stretching it open a little bit more, a little more deeply. Release your hands down, straighten the legs, flat back. Plant the hands, down dog. Pause there, soften your face and forehead and eyes. With control, smoothly roll the body into plank. This time we pour the weight into the right hand, stretching that left arm up for side plank. Shoulders are stacked, lifting up through the right side of the waist this time. If you want more heat, lifting and lowering that left leg, or just holding it still. Deep breathing wherever you're at. Smoothly and with control, rolling into plank. Pause there, lengthen the body. Elbows graze the ribs as you slowly come to the mat, hover just above it, and then finally belly and tops of the feet down. As we did before, 2 options. One is bow pose. So both feet come in. This time we push the feet into the palms to open the body up. If that is too much for you, or if you did the quad stretch on the other side, go ahead and do it again here so that you're equal. So in that case, you would roll onto the right side of the body, grab that left foot, pull it back towards your bottom, head resting on that right upper arm. Right knee is really bent to keep your balance, left leg pulling in. Just stretch the front of that left thigh, maybe even up into the hip. If you're in boat pose, see if you can make the movement about pushing the feet into the palms. So we're not trying to lift or push anything other than those feet into the palms. When you push, it will create the lift, but we don't start with the lift. All meeting up, belly down, and then in down dog. Last time, that down dog sequence. Lifting the left leg this time, spread the toes open, pull it forward, knee to forehead. Lift and open up, right elbow. Lift and open, left elbow. Lift and open. One more time, knee to forehead, pause, curl, tuck, pop it up into triangle. Legs are wide, straight, arms to the sides. Slide through the ribs to the front of the mat until you can't anymore. Left hand down, right hand up. If you're feeling tension in that right knee, pull the right heel back a little bit and bring the right toes forward. Some schools of thought, some yoga traditions teach that the back foot stays parallel to the back of the mat. That's fine if that works for you, but it can create some knee pain for some people. So if you're experiencing that, try pushing the blade of the right foot down and or pulling that foot in on a stronger angle. Remember, you can let the left hands connect with the block here or rest on the left shin. Or if you want a little bit more heat, use core strength to lift it up. Release, bend the left knee, lift that right heel. Right knee on top of the right foot, come down. Deep spinal twist. Either keeping the right hand planted, stacking the shoulders, that left arm can come straight up, straight behind the back, hang over that left ear, or palms together for prayer. Right elbow just above that left knee. Either way, either shape that you're taking here, the shoulders are stacked, spine is twisting and lengthening. Unwind that twist. Left leg to the mat. Tuck the right knee behind the left knee. Sit back in between the heels for cow face pose. As you get there, adjust the feet, the hips, the legs. It may feel like a deep stretch, but it should feel safe and sustainable. Bring that right hand back behind your back. This is the same side that we did last time, I believe. Yes, it is. Sorry, legs are correct. So left arm comes behind your back. Pause there. Right arm comes up overhead. Let the right elbow bend. Start by lengthening the spine and gently pushing the head back into that right arm. Not worrying about whether or not the fingers hook or touch. Just focusing on the stretch in the arms, the shoulders, the length of the spine. If they connect, great. And if they don't connect, that's great too. Perfectly fine. Let those arms unwind. Palms of the hands connect to the soles of the feet as the torso folds forward over the legs. Let your hands come to the mat in front of you. Palms connect. Taking 3 deep breaths into grateful pose. So even in the midst of this pandemic, even in the midst of the fear and uncertainty and intensity of everything that's happening, what are 1 or 2 or 3 things that you can bring into your mind and your heart right now that you feel grateful for? Could be something as simple as the season of spring, the beauty of the earth beginning to reawaken. So thinking of 1 or maybe a few things that you're grateful for that continue to bless you despite these times, this experience we're all having. Ground the tailbone down. Lift the body up. Take this to the mat, coming onto your back. Left shin crossed over the right thigh, and then grabbing the right thigh and pulling it in towards you. You can rock side to side or hold it steady here. Remember, you may be holding that right leg behind the thigh. You may be stretching through and grabbing, interlacing. Either option is fine. See if you can soften and get heavier in the head, the arms. That right foot is relaxed. Two more huge deep breaths into that left hip. Releasing that stretch and coming into an inversion pose that works for you. That might be something very gentle, like seaweed pose, where you simply bring the feet and the hands up and just allow your body to float in space as if you were seaweed in the ocean. You may choose a gentle bridge where you bring a block underneath the sacrum and just allow the block to hold the body like that. You might choose an active bridge, interlacing the fingers underneath the body, pressing the body up high. You might choose shoulder stand or plow if you are comfortable with those and those are a part of your practice. So choosing one of those options that feels right for you today. The big focus, no matter which shape they are in, is we are lifting the extremities, or at least the feet, above the heart. So we're creating some reverse blood flow. We might also be lifting the torso above the level of the heart, and we're closing the throat. You don't feel the throat closing as fully in seaweed, but you should be able to really experience that if you're in bridge, plow, or shoulder stand. The other inversion option, and in that one the throat is not closed at all, is wheel. And you're welcome to do wheel if you prefer instead. Take your time. Close your eyes and see if you can hear from your body when it is ready to come out, how long it would like to stay in the shape. And see if you can really hear its signal to you that it's had enough of the pose and that it's time to come back out. And that'll be a little different for all of us. When your body is ready, when you've had enough time in your inversion, we will all meet up on our backs on the mat, the knees pulled in. If you're already there, close your eyes and just take a few deep breaths. After the throat closing in our inversion, we want to open the throat, just as we did at the beginning of class when we did the spinal eraser. we're focusing on closing and opening the throat. We do the same thing in our inversion. We close the throat with our inversion, and then we come up to open the throat afterwards. Coming into tabletop, let your feet plant fairly close to your hips. Hands come about 10 inches behind you, fingertips pointing towards your toes. Press your body up, 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 up as high as you can, like you're turning yourself inside out. And now allow the head to drop back so the throat is really opening up. Push the body as high and as open as you can. Now allow the hips to come back to the mat. Almost forgot that hamstring stretch for the other side. So bring the right heel to the mat, pull the right hip bone flush back so you're really sitting up on the sits bones. That left knee is stacked on top of the right knee, and we're going to do that deep hamstring stretch for that right leg. So half cow face pose. And remember that this can be a really deep and intense stretch for those hamstrings. So take your time and be really careful and gentle as you bring your weight towards your thighs. Using movement with that right leg to open this up a little bit, start by spreading the toes open, leg is active. And now rotating that leg from the hip. It rocks on the heel, and the movement is coming from the hip. Rotate that leg back and forth, and notice how you feel the stretch in a different way. So accessing the attachments of the muscles, and also tugging on different parts of the fascia, the body's connective tissue, to open it all up. And then releasing that, maybe getting a little heavier for a few more breaths. We'll open and close this with our breath to finish the pose. So letting your hands be nice and stable on the mat. Wherever you're at in your breath cycle, exhale fully. As you inhale, straighten the arms, come up onto the fingertips, look up, lift the body. Exhale, hands come back down, bend the elbows, sink. Inhale, open the throat, lengthen the spine, look up. Exhale, wave it down. One more. Root your tailbone. Take it onto your back again. Both knees bend. Plant your feet wide on your mat, either at the edges of your mat or maybe even just wider, just past the edges of the mat. Arms come into a cactus shape at your sides, and windshield wiper your legs back and forth. The next time that your legs fall to the left, pause there. This may be enough of a stretch here. This may be enough opening in the hip. And if it is, you can just stay right here. If you want a little more, bring that right foot out to the right a touch. If you want a lot more, you could fold that right foot underneath you so the top of the foot is making contact with the mat. Big stretch for the front of the thigh. Whichever one of those options that you're choosing, that left arm stays in a cactus shape, the right arm comes overhead, palm up, and you imagine a straight line, the energy running from your right fingertips through the right shoulder, the right hip, the right knee. Let gravity and your body weight open that up. You can close your eyes here again if that feels right. Bending that right elbow, bringing that arm back into a cactus shape. Releasing the legs, bringing both knees back up. Lift the hips and tuck the tailbone under so the low back is open and making contact with the mat as both legs fall to the right. It can feel really different side to side, so check with your hips here. You may do a different shape here than you did on the other side. Don't just jump into the one that you did before. So either holding right where it's at, or bringing that left foot out to the left a little bit, or folding that whole left leg underneath you. And whatever shape that your legs come in, that left arm comes overhead, palms up. Thread your breath along that line from your left fingertips to your left knee. Come out of the shape, we bend the left elbow, coming back into cactus arms. Release that left leg, bring both knees up again, lift the hips, tuck the tailbone under, low back comes to the mat, hug those knees in. Let that low back really open up. For Savasana, you can either let your body open long on the mat, so one heel and then the next all the way down, adding support underneath the knees if that feels best. You could also come back into that bound angle pose that we maybe started with at the beginning of class, again adding support underneath the knees. And know that you can change the shape if it gets uncomfortable at any point. So add whatever props that feel right to fully relax in this shape for a few minutes. Maybe adding a blanket or something for warmth if you're starting to feel chilly. Hands on the floor next to you, palms up. If it feels right, you could bring the hands back to the belly. One hand on the heart, one hand on the belly. So with your eyes closed, tuning into yourself, seeing which shape feels better here. Releasing all effort, allowing your mind and your thoughts to ride on the wave of your breath. Feeling the front of your body drop into the back of your body. Feeling the back of your body nestled by the support of the floor. Wiggle your fingers and toes. Maybe gently rock your head from right to left. Maybe stretch the arms overhead for a full body opening, pulling the wrists and ankles away from each other. And then bending one knee and then the other, hugging the knees in, rocking one more time from side to side. Rolling onto your right side and taking a pause there with your head cradled, supported by the right upper arm. As you press yourself up to a comfortable sitting position, either close your eyes or let your gaze get really soft on the floor in front of you. And tune back into that place of deep quiet that you cultivated in your Savasana. Let your hands rest on your legs, palms up. What can you feel grateful for? What joy can you draw into your awareness? Can you accept what is and create only good? Bringing the palms together in front of the heart, sit up even taller. Finding something in your world, something in your life that lights you up, that brings some bit of joy and gratitude, even in the midst of all this suffering. Let that sweetness bathe you. Let it be medicine to nourish you in the deepest levels possible, and then send it out to all beings to bless the whole world. Namaste. Thanks so much for joining me. I hope that you all are staying safe and healthy and well, and I hope to see you soon.